Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we'll be talking about the winter storm threat that's going to be happening late tonight throughout tomorrow. We'll also have an update on a storm system that's going to be coming in here towards the middle of the week, and then a much bigger system that's expected to arrive here on Saturday, and I got some concerns with that system as well. We're going to get started with the current hazards out there. We got a lot of alerts out there at the moment. We got a winter storm warning that's been issued for areas generally along and just north of the BG Parkway. Even goes back towards Lynchfield, kind of down along the Western Parkway. The entire Bluegrass region, all of northeastern Kentucky. So this includes places like E-Town, Louisville, Frankfort, Danville, Lexington, Moorhead, Richmond, Maysville, and Ashland. So those are some of the bigger town names out there that are currently in a winter storm warning. Got a winter weather advisory for a row or two counties to the south out here. Now that overlaps with a flood watch, which the flood watch includes in these areas in here. And those areas could pick up 1 to 2 inches of rain. So that could lead to some aerial flooding issues, and even got to watch those creeks and streams as well. Those can run high even on rivers as well. So that's the current look at the alerts. Temperatures right now this evening, temperatures are trending colder out there. Some of those colder valleys have already gone down below freezing across northeastern and eastern Kentucky. Still on the milder side across southern and western Kentucky, where we see temperatures in the low 40s, and those temperatures there will slowly cool down as the night goes on. But we got some cold air in place out there, out ahead of our system that is off to our west. And let me pull up radar for you guys to show you guys where that precipitation is. And you can see here we are already getting some precipitation down in Tennessee here, and actually, by the MPing reports, we're actually getting some sleet reports within some of this precipitation, which is interesting there. So we got some sleet reports there, even some sleet reports in western Kentucky. So you kind of have like a rain and sleet mix going on down there. So we go farther back to the west here, you'll see the precipitation shield will increase and kind of expand northward over time. Not much snow out there, at least momentarily. You got a mix of sleet and a little bit of freezing rain. There's that lonely snow report in southeastern Missouri, and you're going to see this precipitation shield, just kind of expand over time to the north. So all this precip here is coming up here. So, and that's going to be our system here later tonight. So let's check out the HRRR model here, and so far it's not doing very well in picking up on that precipitation in Tennessee and southern Kentucky. It's running a little bit too dry down there, and that's going to be something worth mentioning as we kind of look for this model right here. So this model could be running a little bit too dry on the moisture here, but you can see how that rain there kind of expands. There'll probably be a little bit of sleet mixed in there as well, especially on the northern edge of this precipitation shield. But over time, as the temperatures get colder within this precipitation shield on the northern part, then we start to transition over to snow. Temperatures are cold enough from the surface all the way up to the atmosphere to produce some periods of some heavy snow out there. And this will be a heavy, wet type of snow. So these snowflakes are going to be pretty wet because of how much moisture we're going to have here. If I could get you guys a forecast sounding out there, we can have an x-ray of the atmosphere, and you can see here temperatures at the surface is below freezing. You got a temperature of 31 degrees, dew point at 30, and you can see how moist the atmosphere is. And the moist atmosphere goes all the way up to 500 millibars, so we got no shortage of moisture on the system here. I don't think dry air is going to be an issue here. But you can kind of see here in the upper parts of the atmosphere where temperatures will also be a little bit marginal. But I think where the frontogenesis up here is going to be so strong, it's going to help back off that warm air advection that's going to be going on down here. So we're going to be limited on wintry precipitation types, primarily the sleet and freezing rain. Though, if you do go from snow to over rain, expect a light period of some sleet or maybe a little bit freezing rain before you actually get over to plain old rain. And you can see here throughout Tuesday morning that snow does continue across the northern 2/3 of Kentucky. Could be heavy at times for some of us out there. You can see that rain and snow line starts to advance northward as you get deeper into Tuesday afternoon. But you'll notice across southern Kentucky, you can see how they're staying as all rain. And I can go back to their ZOZ run here to give us some more hours. And while that's loading, let's go in and look into the high-res NAM. And this model here tends to perform better at this range here. Something I've noticed so far this winter. This model here tends to perform a little bit better. You can see here it's a little bit farther north with that heavier snow band, but it's still got quite a bit of snow out there. And, of course, a lot of rain across southern Kentucky. And as the system here departs here, our ground temperatures may still be below freezing, maybe partially due to some of the snowpack and any leftover precipitation. So you got warmer air kind of overriding the shallow cold air that we got, here at the surface. So it's very possible, Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning, you may get a little bit of a freezing drizzle or maybe some light freezing rain. And that could lead to maybe a glaze of ice out there. So that's another thing to, watch out for Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning. Kind of everywhere else in the state, generally south of 64, should stay as plain old rain down there. It's that warm air. It's pretty strong down there. If we check out the HRRR model, if we go back to it, and you can see here it's a little bit similar. It's a little bit further south here, but overall it's pretty much the same out there. But you see that potential risk for maybe a little bit of a freezing drizzle or some light freezing rain Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So that's going to be something to kind of watch out for. And here comes our next system Wednesday afternoon, and that will last into Thursday morning. So as that system moves out of the way, here comes another system right behind it out there. And you can see here that's going to be a big snowstorm for parts of Missouri and Illinois up there. And if we talk about snowfall amounts, we can go to the if we can look into some snowfall numbers from the models. This may take a minute to load here, and you'll notice here compared to the other day that some of the models are a little bit farther south with the snow here, but there's still going to be that band of some very heavy snow out there that's going to overcome those warm grounds. And really overall, I think within that very heavy band of snow, I think surface air temperatures may actually stay below freezing because of that evaporating cooling effect that this snow here is going to have. So it's basically kind of pulling down some of that cold air from the upper parts of the atmosphere towards the surface, but it's also kind of absorbing some of that heat as well. So that's what evaporating cooling is. When you got snow falling, it actually absorbs some of the heat, so it allows for the temperatures to cool down a couple of degrees, and that could make a big difference. So here's the HRRR model here, and you can see there that potential there for some locally higher amounts there. Potential for 4 to 5 inches of snow. See, we got one particular spot, maybe some locally higher amounts could be out there, but you're talking about a general 3 to 5 inches of snow out there, and it's a little bit farther south for my liking. Most of the models, kind of like it a little bit farther north, and I could show you guys the HRRR NAM, and the HRRR NAM has actually been performing a little bit better with some of our recent winter storms so far this winter here. So I'll show you guys the HRRR NAM as well, and you can see here by the HRRR NAM how it's a little bit farther north here, and I actually kind of agree with this. But you can also see that one particular band of some heavier snowfall amounts could show up along BG Parkway and up through Lexington, and even down along parts of the I-64 corridor east of Lexington. That's the area we're monitoring very closely here for those potential 4 to 5, maybe even pushing 6 inches of snow in a couple places. I think six inches of snow is a stretch, but I think we're talking about maybe a general 3 to 5 inches of snow somewhere in here. And I think that's where the heaviest snow band may try to set up, and that's where you got the better combination of the colder air, the moisture, but also the frontogenesis as well in the upper parts of the atmosphere. Helps increase the lift out there, so you got that to work with. So with that out of the way, let's look at my snowfall forecast. And you can see here, during along the BG Parkway and even down along 64 east of Lexington, even south of 64 as well, as you get into eastern Kentucky, talking about a general 3 to 5 inches of snow. And I think that's going to be the correct range for this event here. And areas outside the 3 to 5 inch zone could expect 1 to 3 inches of snow. Far north of Kentucky, I know some malls show some decent snowfall numbers, but my main concern up there is that the snowfall rates may not be high enough to overcome those warm ground temperatures. Remember, the ground temperatures are going to be warm, and you need moderate to high snowfall rates to overcome it. And if you don't get there, you may not get much snow on the ground. So that's why I'm going with a coating to an inch of snow for far north of Kentucky. And it wouldn't surprise me if some of these areas up here may be underperforming a little bit just because of that factor. Let me circle that a little bit better. Right in here, I think there's a possibility some areas may underperform a little bit. Then you kind of go to the southern edge of this here, and this is where we start to get quite a bit of uncertainty on the southern extent of this 1 to 3 inch zone, and maybe even arguably say the 3 to 5 inch zone. How long are you going to stay in that heavy snow before you transition over just to plain old rain? I don't think it's going to... I think regardless of the scenarios, you guys will change over to rain, but the duration of the heavy snow is still kind of a big question here. Some malls are very aggressive down here, but I'm leaning towards maybe heavy snow for some areas, maybe a couple hours before you transition over to rain. But with that type of scenario, you would expect a pretty sharp cutoff on the snowfall amounts, which is exactly what you see down here. So you may go from like Bowling Green here that may not see anything, but if you go up along 65 to maybe like Park City, you can get some snow, but still no snow accumulation. Then you go up to Horse Cave, okay, you may get a coating to an inch, and then you go to like Munfordsville, heck, now you got over an inch of rain, and then you go up towards E-Town, heck, you may get 3 to 5 inches of snow. So you got this pretty sharp cutoff on the snowfall amounts out there, and that area is going to be hard to pinpoint, unfortunately. But this is my thinking of down there. But I'm a little more confident, in this area in here than I am anywhere else as of right now. And I like the look of this forecast out there. And this is the forecast from the National Service Louisville for snowfall, and you can see here, generally along BG Parkway could see some higher end amounts, but really Bluegrass region and points east along 64 has a pretty good shot of seeing some winter storm criteria type of snow. You can see that it's got 4 to 6 inches of snow forecasted for Lexington, even for Moorhead as well, and then you get over towards Ashland. Kind of backs off a little bit. It's 3 to 5 inches, but that's still a pretty good amount of snow. But you can see kind of across southern Kentucky here where there might be quite a bit of uncertainty down there. Down there as well. And overall, this is not a bad outlook from the National Weather Service here. And here's a closer look here on the National Service Louisville viewing area. And you can see here Danville 3 to 4, Richmond 4 to 6, Frankfort 2 to 5, E-Town 2 to 4, Louisville 2 to 4, and even areas in Lawrenceburg and Harrodsburg could be closer to 4 to 6 inches, indicated by the National Weather Service in Louisville. So kind of on the higher end of things compared to my forecast, but I suspect they're going to change this a little bit on the next update later tonight there. Let's see if there's anything else here. Oh, let's look at probabilities here. Why not? So this is basically the probability of like a dusting of snow or a coating. Most of us, 100% chance. I mean, it's pretty much a guarantee. Percent chance of an inch of snow or more. Still got pretty good odds out there. Greater than 2 inches of snow. Okay, now we start to drop off a little bit on some of the numbers, but you can see the highest numbers are in the Bluegrass region. Harrodsburg and kind of points east there. 90 to 95% chance. What about 4 inches of snow or more? This is winter storm criteria type of snow. You can see here they got the highest probabilities in the Bluegrass region and points east. Generally a 45 to 65% chance in the Bluegrass region, which is actually pretty good odds coming from the National Service in Louisville. And there's even just a tiny chance of 6 inches of snow or more, but I don't think that's really going to happen out there. So the next thing to talk about is the flooding potential. And of course, across southern Kentucky, we got that flood watch out there. They're going to get 1 to 2 inches of rain. Locally higher amounts could be possible, but we're not going to be done with the rain anytime soon. We got another system that comes in Wednesday into early Thursday, and then there's another one that comes in on Saturday. And Saturday, that's going to be the one to really watch for. And I made this map here a couple of days ago, flooding potential for the next 7 to 10 days. I didn't have time to update this today, but I will say this. The next time I update this, changes will be necessary. And the change I would definitely make is expand this high-risk area farther to the north and west. So these areas in here, I think I will move into the high risk, and then when we're talking about the medium risk, I think it's going to be kind of in here as well. So kind of everything is going to kind of get expanded to the northwest out there. And this is mostly because of Saturday's system. Saturday's system is going to be a pretty strong storm system moving through Kentucky, and anytime we got a strong storm system coming through Kentucky, it's going to have a lot of rain with it. So that's what we're going to be talking about here. And we're going to check out the European model for this one here. And you can see here, before we get to Saturday's system here, this is the system for Wednesday and into early Thursday here. And you can see here, could be some periods of light to moderate rainfall. There could be a couple of thunderstorms maybe even mixed in as well Wednesday afternoon for parts of central Kentucky as that low pressure system moves off towards the north area. You can see how that could be a strong low moving out of here. And Thursday could be a pretty windy day and certainly be a chilly day as well. And I cannot rule out some snow flurries across parts of Kentucky, especially since there's a northerly type of wind flow out there. But high pressure takes control for your Friday, so Friday actually looks to be a pretty decent day out there, and temperatures start to trend milder out there. And we'll look into the GFS model here on Wednesday system as well. You can see here it's a weaker system out there, but you still got that periods of light to moderate rain out there. Some local flooding issues could be possible out there, but it's not really a big chance for Wednesday. But you basically kind of see the same thing. Just like the Euro, here's the Canadian model. And you can see how the low pressure system tracks right over Kentucky. It's got a little more rain with it compared to the GFS. But you're still talking about a pretty similar type of thing here. Compared to the European model of what it suggests out there as well. Okay, now we'll start talking about Saturday system. So this is Saturday morning out here. These are thunderstorms off to our southwest here, and there's going to be a big push of warm air out ahead of this system here. In the Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America, wherever you want to call it, and that body of water down there, um, it's going to be wide open for moisture return, advancing northward. So by Saturday afternoon, we got a 1,005 millibar low moving into western Arkansas. As that's happening, we got widespread light to moderate rainfall across the entire state for Saturday. And then look what starts to happen. That low pressure system starts moving very quickly, and you can see how it trends a lot stronger as well. So you go from a 1,005 millibar low to a 998 millibar low, and that's a rapidly strengthening type of system right there. And those type of systems can really cause some trouble. And you can see here with that type of low pressure system placement, you can really expect severe weather down here. There is potential for a big severe weather event down in the deep south with this system here. And you can see how the low pressure system basically goes right over Kentucky, and it still strengthens as it moves off to the northeast. And by Sunday afternoon, we flip back to winter. Northwest flow, you got snow flurries and snow showers on the northerly wind flow out there. So we basically go from spring on Saturday to winter on Sunday. So that's quite a change. What does the GFS model say about that same system? Well, there are some similarities to it. It's a little bit weaker, a little bit farther south, but still shows a lot of rain, and it still shows that strong storm system out there. And you can see there, now with a farther south and east type of track here, there could be a pretty decent round of snow behind this low here, or behind this cold front for Sunday morning. But you can see here we still flip back to winter regardless for Sunday there, and we still got some snow flurries, maybe even some snow showers on that northerly wind flow. What about the Canadian model? Well, it's a little bit farther north of that low track, and this is, getting into Saturday. And let me tell you guys something. If the Canadian model is correct, it has a 997 millibar low moving across southern Indiana. If that ends up being correct, we may have severe weather issues for Saturday. Normally for severe weather here in Kentucky, if you want severe weather in Kentucky, you want that low pressure system to track from southern Illinois through southern Indiana and up into central Ohio. With a low pressure system track like that usually produces severe weather here in Kentucky. So if the Canadian model is correct, not only we can see big flooding issues, but we can also see some severe weather. And you can see here we got that periods of moderate to heavy rain out there as well. And of course, as this system there moves out of the way, you can see how windy it is on the backside of it, how close these isobars are. It's going to be very windy behind this system here. And you can see the cold air crashes in Sunday. Then you get snow flurries and snow showers. So basically all models have a similar theme here. We go from spring Saturday to winter-like for your Sunday. So quite a change there. There is differences on the low pressure system track, which can determine the severe weather potential here in Kentucky. Like I said, Canadian model would favor severe weather. However, if the low pressure system were to track over Kentucky, kind of like the European model and the GFS model, I'm very concerned about the heavy rainfall risk, because with such a strong surface low moving through the Ohio Valley, it's going to have a lot of lift. It's also going to have a ton of moisture to come along with as well. With that type of combination, you can certainly expect an area of moderate to even at times heavy rain that could last for a long period of time over some of the same areas, and that's going to lead to a big concern for flooding here. And we can look into some of those rainfall amounts really over the next three systems here, and you're really going to see why I'm pretty concerned about the flooding potential here. And while the European model is loading here, let's look at the European ensembles here for the low pressure system track. And the mean takes it across eastern Kentucky here, and with that type of scenario, that would not be good for us in terms of the flooding situation. This could lead to some big flooding problems out here. And you're talking about, river flooding, some flash flooding possibly, but also aerial flooding. So you got 3 different types of flooding issues that may be ongoing Saturday into early Sunday here. And you can see how that low pressure system really strengthens as it moves off to the northeast. So this is going to be a pretty strong system coming through the Ohio Valley. And this is something all models really do agree on, is that this is going to be a pretty potent system coming through the area here. And it's definitely, something we really got to keep a close eye on as we get closer here. I'm going to let the rainfall amounts in the GFS and Canadian model load. And while they're loading, let's check out the European model through the next 3 systems. And you can see why I'm a little bit concerned about the rainfall. Those are some high numbers through the end of the week. You're talking about, a swath of 4 to 6 inches of rain out there. And that's a significant amount of rain for the next several days out there. Lower amounts towards the Ohio River from Cincinnati down towards Paducah, but the main area of concern, I'm going to put this in green, it's going to be right in here. I think this is going to be the main area of concern right in here for flooding issues, and some of that flooding could be major. If we move on to the GFS model here, you can see here it's farther south with the heaviest rainfall, but check out some of those rainfall numbers down in Middle Tennessee. Those are double-digit rainfall amounts down there, and hopefully that doesn't come true. But that's what it could look like if you got heavy thunderstorms training over some of the same areas. You could see some pretty big rainfall numbers if that does happen, which is what the GFS suggests here. But despite this, being farther south here, I mean, look at the rainfall numbers in southeastern Kentucky. I mean, it's anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of rain down there, and that's quite concerning. And then look into the Canadian model. You'll be able to see here, pretty similar to the European model here in terms of the rainfall amounts out there. You're talking about general 4 to 6 inches of rain out there. And the last thing I will look at for rainfall is the European ensembles and this is an ensemble mean, by the way. So this takes in 51 members and it puts all into a mean. So it kind of gives you a good idea of how high the potential is for the heavy rainfall. And yeah, you can clearly see there, Red Lake's a target south central and southeastern Kentucky with 4 to 5 inches of rain. But of course, since it's an ensemble mean, you cannot rule out some higher numbers out there as well. So we really got to keep an eye on that flooding risk out there. And one last thing here, this is the Storm Prediction Center outlook for day 6. There's already a slight risk for severe weather across the deep south for our potent system for Saturday, and severe weather's definitely going to be an issue with this system here. With such a strong system, rolling through the Ohio Valley, there's going to be some severe weather out there. And like I was saying with the Canadian model, if it ends up tracking across southern Indiana into central Ohio, you can really see this slight risk getting expanded to the north. But there is still uncertainty on the track there, but there is still quite a bit of time left to really figure out on the track of the system. And that track of the system can really determine where the heaviest rainfall amounts can be, and can also determine how far north the severe weather risk could be as well. But anyways, guys, this is all I got for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you really like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys got any questions, you can put it in the comment section down below. I'll get you guys questions. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye and have a good day.